Jim Nygard and his son Jeff, and Karen's mother Irma Turner, and her brother Dave Turner. We'd also like to welcome a lot of friends here today from Bethlehem Lutheran Church in Morris, as well as all the Messiah Lutheran Church family and friends that are here. Welcome everyone. We're so glad you're with us. We'll hear a few times throughout the program. I'm going to repeat a few things that we've all heard Pastor Dave say, and this is one of them, and I think it's really appropriate. How empty the church would seem today if just one of you had stayed home. David Nygard. Dave is the son of Maurice and Dorothy Nygard. He grew up in St. Paul, Minnesota with his brothers Joel and Jim. Karen Nygard is the daughter of Chuck and Irma Turner. Karen has a brother Dave and sisters Laura, Elaine, and Sally. And their family lived in 3 different states before settling in Morris in 1969. Pastor Dave graduated from Luther Theological Seminary in 1978 and was ordained on August 12, 1979 at East Emmanuel Lutheran Church in St. Paul, Minnesota. His first pastoral call was to Bethlehem Lutheran Church in Morris, Illinois. And if you were in the service this morning, you realize he didn't get there till after midnight. It was there that Dave met Karen Turner. They were married on July 12, 1982 in Morris, and just 5 years later, on July 15, 1987, Dave came here to Messiah Lutheran Church as an associate pastor. He was named Messiah's senior pastor in December of 2005. God will never lead you to a place where His grace cannot keep you. So things were quite a bit different when Pastor Dave joined Messiah in 1987. The church building itself was much smaller, consisting of only the sanctuary, the narthex, and the pastor's offices, which were located in what are now the nursery and the choir room. Every activity at Messiah took place in the sanctuary. The side wings would be partitioned off after the early service to create Sunday school classrooms, and then reopened before the late service began. As Messiah's church family grew, it was decided that a larger church building was needed as well, so the educational unit was added. It expanded the narthex and added the fireside room, the church office and pastor's offices, fellowship hall, the kitchen, and classrooms on the first and second floors. It took a leap of faith to take on such a big addition, but God was good to us. The addition was completed and has served us very well. Over time, the mortgage was completely paid off, but God was not done here yet. Under Pastor Nygard's leadership, another addition was placed on our hearts, this Family Life Center. With much prayer and involvement from the whole congregation, with everyone sharing in sacrifices, this building was designed and by God's grace was built completely debt-free. Praise the Lord. Thanks go out to so many people, but especially to Pastor Nygard for his vision and leadership during this time of growth. So don't put a question mark where God puts a period. Today, we're enjoying some history and tradition of this congregation with the return of a Scandinavian-style dinner. As I'm told, Norwegian people tend to be very sentimental and like to celebrate their traditions. The Scandinavian dinners started in our congregation when we were located on Hunter Avenue in Joliet, and continued after moving here to Hobart Road. It was a way to celebrate the Norwegian heritage of many families that attended this church. As time went on, it grew beyond the walls of this church to many Norwegians in the area. A mailing list was even used to invite Norwegians from near and far. Some traveled long distances in order to partake of the traditional foods like lefse, boiled cod, Swedish meatballs, Scandinavian bakery goods, and rice pudding with lingonberries. The dinner was held once a year and required about 30 committees to plan, prepare, bake, cook, serve, and then, of course, to clean up afterwards. Almost the entire congregation was involved in some way, and many of you here today were probably participants in that. It was a big event with several meal seating times. In the original building to the north, the dinner was actually held in the sanctuary. The tiny sacristy served as a kitchen with 2 stoves and a pass-through window. All the pews in the sanctuary would actually be removed and replaced with tables. And since this was always held on a Saturday, everything had to be cleaned up and the pews replaced to be ready for the Sunday morning services. It really happened every year. It really took a team to make it successful like that, and as many say, that was the best part of the Scandinavian dinners, working together as a family. Pastor Nygard's been a leader of Messiah's family for 32 years, and throughout his entire 40 years as pastor, he's performed 208 weddings, 436 baptisms, 291 funerals, and been a part of 40 First Communion and Confirmation classes, with the most recent one occurring just last Sunday. Dave's a wonderful writer and has shared his love and gift of writing in several ways. He's written plays and performed in them. 2 of those plays have been published. He's written Bible studies, songs, and even learned to play guitar, which we're going to be able to hear a little bit later. In his wonderful sermons, Pastor Dave definitely shares his love through written and then the spoken word. Here are some people's comments about his sermons. One person said that when they first attended here, they were amazed at Pastor Dave's sermons. They swore he'd been listening in their kitchen and hearing their conversations. Many have claimed that he always seemed to know exactly what they needed to hear, when they needed to hear it. It was like he was talking directly to them. Another man shared that Pastor Dave made him the man that he is today. Because Dave is so real and so vulnerable, it makes you want to listen to him, to trust him, and to learn from him. This man said Pastor Dave's teachings and sermons shaped him. Now, since announcing his retirement, many have wondered, how will we make it without Pastor Dave's sermons? Jesus loves you so much. Do you believe it? Say amen. Amen. When Dave was at Bethlehem Lutheran Church in Morris, his sermons would be broadcast on the radio. One woman in Seneca listened faithfully to those sermons. In fact, she told her daughter that she just loved the new pastor's sermons. When he was no longer at Bethlehem and she couldn't hear the sermons on the radio anymore, she prayed that Dave would find his way to Messiah Lutheran Church so her daughter, a member here, could hear him. That woman was the mother of our own Judy Joan. That was well coordinated. But praise God for her mother's prayers, and that God answered those prayers by blessing us with Pastor Dave. We've all probably been blessed by a sermon that seemed to be just for us, and that was just what we needed to hear. Now, Dave's sermons have probably reached farther than even he could imagine. Besides those of us in this church, many others have heard his sermons. Both audio and video versions are published on the church's website. Judy Joan faithfully sends out his sermons to her family and friends. Judy's cousin is 94 years old and lives in a nursing home in Nebraska. She not only reads Dave's sermons for herself, but then reads them aloud to other residents who come faithfully to hear his words. They too will be missing Dave's sermons in the future. Pastor Dave certainly has a gift for preaching, and he also has a heart and a gift for prayer. One man said that if you ever needed someone to be with you during a difficult situation, it's Pastor Dave. He can pray like no one else, and he has such a heart to help others and pray with them. One family experienced a very difficult situation that required them to be in court. Fearful for the situation and for the outcome, they would call Pastor Dave, and he would pray with them all the way to the courthouse. As soon as they were done, they'd call him back again, and they'd tell him what happened. Often he had given them some kind of advice that they used in court. He would then pray with them all the way back home. Not only did he share his gift of prayer, but he helped carry their burden. This is a man that reflects God's love. This is our Pastor Dave. Don't wait until the last day of your life to believe what God says is true today. Of course, we must mention Dave's wonderful sense of humor. If the whole pastor business didn't work out, I'm sure he could be a stand-up comedian. We've all shared many laughs with him as he's shared his love of jokes with us. Behind every wonderful pastor is a praying spouse, and in Dave's case, Karen is that wonderful partner. By her own admission, Karen is not someone who likes to be in the spotlight, but yet here she is, pastor's wife, our own, very own First Lady. But being more reserved does not stop Karen from giving of herself to this congregation. She has been involved she has been very involved over these past 32 years. She's taught and led women's Bible studies and Sunday school. She's organized retreats and conferences. She's attended work camps, been a vacation Bible school teacher and helper and nursery coordinator. She's volunteered in MOPS, Awana, sang in the choir, and participated in Secret Pals. She's served on the Public Relations Board and is currently a member of our Evangelism Board. One of the things closest to Karen's heart is her passion and amazing talent for art, which she's shared with the churches where she's served. Some of her artwork is captured in the slideshow that's been playing today on both sides of the monitors here. She's completed calligraphy projects. The Gettysburg Address, which is up here in frame, is a project that she completed and gave to her husband, Dave. She's helped generate proceeds for Lutherans for Life by creating artwork for Mother's Day and Father's Day cards. She made a banner for the National Convention for Lutherans for Life. Karen's first ministry design was a handmade banner for Bethlehem Lutheran Church. We have the honor of seeing it right here. It's right behind me. Make sure you come up and take a look a little bit later. It's also been on the video monitors, as it's currently on loan to Karen from Bethlehem. Thank you for that. And God has certainly given her a gift, and Karen has given that talent as an offering back to God and to her family at Messiah. And like Dave, Karen has prayed for us, and carried our burdens, and shared in our joys. She's been a support for Dave, as well as for this congregation. We're so very grateful for Karen and all she has given of herself. Now here at Messiah, Pastor Dave and Karen have served with many, many wonderful people, starting with Pastor Dave Blesney and his wife Mona. They've also served with Pastor Luke Cutel and his wife Jeanette, with Pastor Daniel Metzger and his wife Nancy, and currently with Pastor Kurt Hoover and his wife Molly. On the youth ministry side, Dave has served with Youth Director Bill Zeke and his wife Mary Ann, who are here today, Jim Carroll and his wife Donna, and currently with Pastor of Student Ministries David Steer and his wife Nana, and with Interim Youth Director Brian Phipps. Dave has worked with many, many different individuals who served as congregational officers, board directors, and board members. In the office manager position has been held by Marcia Traeger, Mary Jackson, and then Myrtle Dugan. Myrtle was followed by Jeanette Wegemer, and now Lloyd Evans and Assistant Christine Murray keep things running smoothly in the office. Nancy Sarver served as our bookkeeper, followed by Ellen Parnell, and now Sherry Uni. Sherry also currently leads our youth choir, having succeeded Jennifer Bach. The sanctuary choir has been led by Mona Glessney, followed by Beverly Holt, and then by myself. And of course, Rose Soshin. Rose has been here with her beautiful organ and piano music, BD, DD, and AD. That's before Dave, during Dave, and after Dave. All right, so at this time, I'd like to ask Rose to come up. We've got our keyboard set up here. The Sanctuary Choir, if you can make your way up to the front here. We've got one little number, musical number for you. It seems to be the number of the day. It's He Lives. And so the first verse, moving the microphone in front of the speaker. Yeah, if we want to have a few more people come up, the stairway's over on this side, if anybody else wants to come up. So this is the anthem of the day here. It's He Lives. The first verse, Rose is going to play. We can all sing along to the first verse. But there's a second and third verse that you may not be aware of. I believe the words will be up on the monitors on either side. So please feel free to follow along and listen to these alternate verses of He Lives. Rose. people are getting seated, there's another little story here. Ole was staggering home one night after a night at the tavern. A Lutheran minister saw him and offered to help him get home safely. So as they approached the house, Ole asked the minister to step inside for a moment, because he exclaimed, "I want Lena to see who I've been out with." All right, so next on our program, there's more. Next on the program, I'm going to ask Dave and Tom Spielman to come on up on the stage. They're going to present some music as well. While they get set up, Lena said to Ole, "I found this pen, is it yours?" And Ole replies, "I don't know, give it here." So then he tries it, and he says, "Yep, it's mine." And Lena says, "Well, how do you know?" Then Ole goes, "That's my handwriting."
Well, this will be interesting. Well, when I turned 65, I realized I had a guitar that I had owned for 47 years and never learned how to play one note on it. So I thought that was a pretty waste of time. So I did a children's sermon, and I said to the kids, "Look at my beautiful guitar and the fine, you can tell it's made out of Norwegian pine. There's a lot of sap in it." And I said, "Let me play a song for you." And I couldn't play a note. And I said, "I've owned this for 47 years. I always wanted to take lessons, never did." So I said, "If you want to do something, don't put it off. Do it if it's important to you. Tell somebody you love them. Take that class you're meant to take. Get close to Jesus. Don't put it off." So I went out into the hallway afterwards, and Tom said, "I could give you lessons." So Tom has given me lessons for 3 years now. And after 3 months of lessons, then he and I did the same children's sermon all over again, except I said, "Listen to this song," and we played a song together. So I wrote a hymn, and Tom has arranged it, and it's called "I Pray with Every Rising Sun." I said this is interesting because the first 3 times I played with our praise team, they never turned my microphone on. I didn't take it personally. I pray with every rising sun, not my will, Lord, but yours be done. I cannot do it. Each one makes me call to you in the morning, in the evening, in the middle of the night. I pray with every rising sun, not my will, Lord, but yours be done. There's so many things I don't understand. Each one makes me take your hand in the morning, in the evening, in the middle of the night. I believe in God's amazing grace. I believe that Jesus took my place. I believe that I will see his face soon and very soon. I pray with every rising sun. Not my will, Lord, but yours be done. So many people I cannot love. Lord, you know the ones I'm thinking of. In the morning, in the evening, in the middle of the night. I believe in God's amazing grace. I believe that Jesus took my place. I believe that I will see his face soon and very soon. With every rising sun, not my will, Lord, but yours be done. There's so many things I cannot do. Each one makes me call to you in the morning, in the evening, in the middle of the night. I believe in God's amazing grace. I believe that Jesus took my place. I believe that I will see his face soon and very soon, soon and very soon. When you're a Norwegian, they're not really expressive people, and the best they will say about something was, it wasn't bad. So I think about that song, you know, it wasn't bad. So I wrote a song, I grew up with folk music, and this is called, He Was a Wagon Wheel. Was a wagon wheel, broken and worn. He was old blue jeans, faded and torn. He was a country road after a storm. He was a long way from home. He was a used guitar, minus a string. He was a wounded bird, nursing a wing. He was a forgotten hymn that nobody sings. He was a long way from home. Home is where your hangry at. Home is where your family's at. Home is just a memory. Home is where you want to be. Home is where you find love. Home is what you're dreaming of. Home is God's amazing grace. Everybody smiles to see your face. He was a wagon wheel, broken and worn. He was old blue jeans, faded and torn. He was a country road after a storm. He was a long way from home. He was a flannel shirt with holes in the sleeves. He was here to stay or ready to leave. He was every place where he needed to be. He was a long way from home. Home is where you hang your hat. Home is where your family just a memory. Home is where you want to be. Home is where you find love. Home is what you're dreaming of. Home is God's amazing grace, and everybody smiles to see your face. That's a long way from home. That's a long way from home. We'll play out in the parking lot later if you want.
All right, at this point, I believe Myrtle Dubik, are you here this afternoon? Myrtle has a few things that she'd like to share with you as well. And when Myrtle's finished, Jerry Phillips is the next to speak. So Gary, if you'd be ready.
It's good to be back at Messiah. It was 15 years ago that they had a retirement party for me. Not quite as big as this, but we're still going to touch crowd. So, and there's lots of faces I kind of recognize, others I don't know at all. So anyway, it was fun to be able to come back here and share with Pastor Dave. Other than David's family in Minnesota, I have known him probably longer than any one of you. A young bearded pastor came to Bethlehem Lutheran in Morris to begin his pastoral ministry in 1979. I had been at Bethlehem as a parish secretary for about 10 years at that time. I enjoyed getting to know Pastor Dave as we worked together, shared walking in the morning before work, and then for about 2 years after that. The times of devotions as a staff were very special times. After living in the parsonage, we were nearing Christmas that very first year. He was asked if he was going to decorate a tree, and his reply, "No, I'll open my refrigerator door and watch the green fuzzy stuff." Remember that? A Christmas gift he received from one of the members while he was still single was a dozen lefse. He didn't know what to do with it because it didn't look like the lefse that he'd had in Minnesota. He didn't want to ask what to do with it, so he just kept breaking pieces off and eating them. He couldn't understand what was so great about it. Finally, we told him, you have to soak it, then butter and sugar. Needless to say, Illinois hard lefse is not the soft potato lefse that you don't hear at Messiah. He did some dating, but after he met Karen and asked if I knew her, I told him yes. He said, "Why didn't you introduce me to her sooner?" And I told him I didn't know that he wanted to meet her. But it was wonderful watching them grow in their relationship and later get married. Then along came Anna, and Pastor became a daddy, and everything changed for him. Bethlehem Lutheran got their first computer in the 81, 82, I don't remember exactly when we got it, but the company that sold it to us came and sat down with me for about 2 hours to teach me how to learn it, to work it. Not enough time, but over the weeks I finally was able to get the basic hang of working with the computer. Then Pastor Dave wanted to learn. So he would come to my office and I taught him what I knew, and then he worked hard at it to conquer the marvelous machine that sometimes speeded up our work. Pastor Dave left Morris and became a pastor here at Messiah in 1989. No, 7, yeah. I couldn't remember. I could continue to see them through the years. In 1994, Pastor Dave called me to see if I would be interested in coming to Nygard to be the secretary office manager. After an interview with Jerry Bowe and accepting the job, I began again working with Pastor Dave and the other staff here at Messiah. There are many happy memories of working together, eating many lunches, encouraging and praying with one another during our 10 years that I worked here at Messiah. One thing that, when he was mentioning about calling and being with people in the hospital, when I still live in Morris, but I had to have some procedure done. And Pastor Dave says, I'll come over to the hospital and meet you. And so I said, okay, that'd be great. So he came and was with me for a while before I went in for my procedure. We were walking down the hallway. I don't know if you remember this or not, but the nurses said, well, you could kiss your husband before you win. No, he's my pastor. Anyway, he eventually found his way back to me after he sat and waited a long time. And anyway, that was one of the memories. I hadn't thought about at this particular point until he mentioned it. It's been fun during these last 15 years of my retirement to visit and celebrate with the staff and also members of the congregation, as God has blessed the ministry here at Messiah. Pastor Dave, I pray for you will be blessed in your retirement, and that God will grant you many years to enjoy traveling, babysitting the grandchildren, and to do more of the writing that you've always talked about doing. Love from your friend and fellow co-worker.
As Gary comes up, Ole and his friend Sven, here we go again. Ole and Sven were out hunting one day in the winter, and they came upon a set of tracks. And Ole looked at me and said, moose tracks. And then, come on, Gary. And Sven disagreed. He says, no, Ole, those are elk tracks. And they went on back and forth, the moose tracks. No, they're elk tracks. And they kept arguing about this for quite some time. And unfortunately, the headline in the newspaper the next day said, 2 Norwegians run over by train.
Right, thank you. I was a late addition. I wanted to give a tribute to my friend Dave and just show the impact that he made on me. So I came up with a short list of about 1,700 ways Dave's preaching has impacted my life. And the number one way is his ability to enumerate and repeat his sermon points. Number one is enumerate and repeat his sermon points. And I've got 1,700 of them. But I'm sure it'll still be shorter than most of Dave's sermons. Number 2, Karen stories. Karen is quite the leader in the Turner family. In fact, according to Dave, she was quite the head turner. Now, I haven't heard too many Molly or Dana stories yet. I'm sure they're here to come, or come shortly. But I remember early on in Dave's preaching, he had said, on some mornings I wake up grumpy, and on other mornings I let her sleep. The funny thing is I haven't heard too many Karen stories after that point. Of course, number 3 would be Dave's humor, his Norwegian jokes and his one-liners. Now, I help out with the youth on Wednesday nights on confirmation, and every year they have a joke-telling night. And this one student who remained nameless, but her initials are Emily Poole, told this joke. She said, there was a man who came to church and told jokes, and no one laughed. His name was Gary. Now, all I got to say about that is I learned all those non-funny jokes from Dave. Where was I? Number 4. Number 4, Dave is, oh yeah, I know what it was. His ability to sweat without letting you know he's sweating. My brother, Jim, was a part of the calling committee to call Pastor Dave to the church. So him and another gentleman from the calling committee went to listen to Dave, and they sat down in the 3rd row, and they sat with their arms folded, and a look that would make anybody sweat. But Dave got through it, and I'd like to say that they definitely called the keeper when they called you to be a member of the church, I think. And imagine he's that way because he's a little bit John Wayne, a little bit Burl Ives, a little bit, oh, I know, the 3rd one, the 2 Stooges. And yes, there are only 2 Stooges, there ain't no mo. And now I heard from 2-year-old Anna that he's a little bit goofy. But if God can use a man like that to make such an impact on people's lives, what can he do with a guy like me who's a little bit more howdy-doody, Charles McCarthy and Mortimer Schnurr, real dummies. Anyway, sorry, you gotta really know who those people are. Am I at 4 yet? 5, okay. Number 5, the bulletins. I remember when they dedicated the fellowship hall, the announcement in the bulletin that week was, there will be services at both the north and the south sides of the church. And they'll be baptizing kids on both ends. All right, I'm gonna have one more. Skip a few. 1, 2, skip a few. 1,700. All right, and that is, everybody here is getting a chance to sing, and that was an awesome song you guys did, Fred, and that's an awesome song you guys did, Dave. And since Dave Steer put a picture of me in the choir room that says, never let this man sing in front of the church unless he sings tenor, as in 10 or 12 miles away. I composed a song, it's a mashup from 2 famous artists and lyricists, and I even threw in my own line, but it doesn't rhyme. In fact, it's like parking on Sundays in some cities. It has no meter. Wait, there's a few days. You ready? Cover your ears. Friends are friends forever if the Lord's the Lord of them. And a friend will not say never, and the welcome will not end. In the morning, in the evening, and 2 a.m. next Tuesday. In the morning, in the evening, at 2 a.m. next Tuesday. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to ask Pastor Dave Steer to come on up and say a few words. And when he's finished, Pastor Kurt, you'd be right after him.
Hey. Well, when they asked me to say a few words today, first I thought it was going to be a roast, and then I heard what Gary was going to share, so I think I'll leave the roast in the oven for a little bit longer. But what can I say about Dave? As I said, when I was asked to speak, I almost wanted to pass off the opportunity because it wasn't that there was nothing for me to say, it was there was so much to say. I've been blessed to know Dave and think of him as a friend and a mentor for 14 years now. The first big memory that I have with Pastor Nygard was the first weekend that I came to visit Messiah. For some reason, they called me and they wanted me to be their youth director, a decision they're still regretting after 14 years. And I sat in on the service and got to get the different flavor of the different services and hear Pastor Dave's message. Most of you that know me know that I didn't grow up in the Lutheran tradition, but I had plenty of friends and family who did. And I would go to church with my friends and family and hear great stories of God's love and His grace and His forgiveness. But they always left you hanging. Nobody ever said anything about how to receive that love and forgiveness. Nobody said anything about a personal relationship with Jesus. That first Sunday that I sat and heard a message from Pastor Dave Nygard, he made that final point about accepting that free gift that God had given you and about having a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And today, his last message as a full-time pastor, it's not going to be his last message. Us pastors, we don't go into retirement. Our hours just change. I keep telling him that. But he shared again about that personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Pastor Dave has been like a big brother, a wiser, older big brother to me for these last 14 years. And if you know me at all, you know I'm just slightly a workaholic and a bit task-oriented. And Pastor Dave had spent many an afternoon or many a night counseling with me and saying, Dave, do you really need to be here? Do you really need to do another couple hours of work? Do you really need to do another 3 events? And while I would say that it's something that I'm still working on, I haven't perfected that point that Pastor Dave made into me, that it's about the people and not about just the doing. That has stayed with me and will stay with me all the rest of the year. So Dave, thank you very much.
Anybody here from Minnesota? Some of my, yeah. Some of my favorite memories of Dave were doing Alpha together in the first years that we were here, and we would take turns. You always did the kneel, and then we would do jokes, and we'd do some songs, and he gave me a list of jokes the very first time that I could use to go off of, and they were all Iowa jokes. So then I said, well, let's make some Minnesota jokes. So then it eventually became the habit, so you guys were in those Alpha classes, that we would start it off by say, anybody from Iowa? Anybody from Minnesota? And then we would take turns barbing each other about how bad Minnesota or Iowa was. One of the things that really struck me when I first got here is just how many people Dave Nygard knew. And that comes from being, when I got here, being in the community 22 years, being in Illinois for almost 30 years at that time. And when I got here, I went to his tech study. Everybody there, oh, you're working with Pastor Dave Nygard. I know him. I go to the gym. Everybody at the gym. Oh, yeah, Pastor Dave, that church? That's Pastor Dave's church. Yeah, I know him. I go to an LCMC conference, which I was a little more involved in because I had just changed churches and changed my call. He already knew it. They all asked me, well, how's Dave Nygard doing? So Dave Steer and I, we were trying to figure out, is there anybody that Dave Nygard does not know? And so we said, hey, Dave, do you know Bob Dylan? And he said, yeah, sure I know Bob Dylan. Next time we go up to Minnesota for the conference, we'll stop at Duluth, we'll say hi. Sure enough, we go to Minnesota. He doesn't even need to put the map in his Google thing. We drive to Bob Dylan's house. He knocks on the door. He welcomes us in. We have lunch together. The guy knows everybody. So finally, Dave and I, we figured out, we'll stump him. I bet he doesn't know the Pope. So we took a mission trip to Italy, saw some churches. Dave and I were sitting out there in front of the Vatican, 10,000 people, trying to get the Pope's attention because Dave swears he knows the Pope. And of course he says, well, I can't catch his eye, but I know some of the guards, so I'll go up there on the balcony and I'll point out to where you guys are, and then we'll wave at you. And so sure enough, he goes up there. 5 minutes later, you see Dave up there on the balcony with the Pope. And when he returns, Dave Steers, he's got the breathing salts underneath my nose because I passed out. And he said, I was doing fine until the tourist from Japan said, hey, who's that guy up on the balcony with Dave? my dream, my goal, to be in a congregation long enough where I can know everybody, but also baptize students, marry students that baptize the children of students that I've married, and Davis had that blessing and the honor. You guys gave that to him, and so thank you, Dave, for your many, many years of service.
All right, my understanding is there's another mystery guest who's going to be visiting by video. Is that correct? Do we have a video queued up? Okay, well, they're not going to be here today. That'll be a special gift to Dave and Karen at a later time. Next then, Beth Hoheisel, where are you? Beth is going to come up and have another presentation.
Thank you. Dave and Karen, why don't you come on up? Well, I am very honored to represent our congregation on this very special day for the two of you. You have led us, loved us, and prayed for all of us in this congregation for the last 32 years. You've laughed with us and cried with us. We are forever grateful for all you've done for this church family. You have led the way, showing us how to love Jesus and serve, and you have encouraged our faith, and you've challenged our thinking. You've been a part of the most important moments in many of our lives. I know personally you counseled Doug and I, and you married us, and you celebrated our children, and baptized them in communion and confirmation. You mourned with us as we buried our dads. And I'm just one of the many that you've done this for. You're a part of us, you're a part of our story. So we celebrate the love you've shown us, the teachings you've given us, the burdens you've helped us carry, and we celebrate your humble, relatable hearts. We celebrate and we praise God for the impact of two lives that have chosen to serve Him and to be used by Him. So we love you both, and we wish you special memories from your time in ministry. Good health and good friendships. Joy as you spend time with your family and friends, and especially those grandchildren. And God's grace to hold you and lead you in this new season of your life. And finally, it is my privilege to give you a gift from our congregation. I'm going to read this to you. So Pastor Dave and Karen, with grateful hearts in honor of your retirement as senior pastor and in celebration of 32 years of ministry here at Messiah Lutheran Church, the congregation joyfully bestows to you a gift of $10,000. Our hope is that you would use this money in some special way as you begin your new season of life. Our thoughts were on maybe a trip to Norway or the Holy Land, or just some other way that would be meaningful to the two of you. The best is yet to be, and we love you both so very much.
Thank you very much. Karen and I have to get our impromptu remarks before we can say anything. Your kindness is very much appreciated, and the best gift you've given us is your friendship and your love over the years. And that's really what we'll value. And I can't thank you enough for trusting us and loving us and giving us a home for our family. I have a few more things to say, but I'm going to let Karen say something first.
Okay, first I'm going to give a message from Dave's best friend in Minnesota, Don Knaps and Roxy. Pastor Dave. We know you still have much to do, and now you will have the time to do it. We've been friends for many, many years, and even though we do not see each other often, it seems just like yesterday when we do get together. Don will be joining you in retirement soon, as soon as Perry Mason loses another case. We love you, Don and Roxy. It's my turn. As Luke would say, this is weird. This is really weird to see everybody here at once, but wonderful. So thank you all for coming and making the special effort to come. From me personally, in the month of November sometime, I would love to contact Marietta and Carol, who were the Parish Fellowship ladies, and then Judy and Maureen, the Lefsa ladies. And you can contact all the people who were a part of putting this amazing day on. I would like to give you a luncheon as a gift from Dave and me. So I'm hoping he'll be around to share in that, but just as a little easygoing thank you, okay? Would you come?
If I'm not around, I'll Skype from Norway.
Speaking of Norway, as my gift to you, I thought that I would take you to Norway this week. Norway, Illinois. And because I love you so much, I will even let you buy lutefisk. And we will make it this week. Never done it. 37 years, I only tried it once. Okay? So that's my gift. I just want to say that, God works in very funny ways. I always thought I'd be a missionary. I had it all set up to do that. And in September 1979, God, in his humor, brought Dave to Bethlehem. But at the very same time, I had finished 4 months of saving all of my money after college. I was a fine arts major. I was going to go to Rome, Italy, work in a hotel run by German nuns, 5 minutes literally from St. Peter's. I woke up every morning to the bells of St. Peter's. I walked through the city, I saw all the artwork. So that was my dream, and I thought, I have to see it in person. September 1979, there's a man here today, one of Anna's godfathers, Dave Bonomo. Dave from State Farm. Could you raise your hand? My parents said, you need insurance. If you go internationally, you're alone, you should really have some health insurance. Do you remember the day I came to see you? My parents told me to go see him. Little did I know, Dave would become one of Dave's best friends at Bethlehem, the church that my family had just left a few years before. So I left for a year, came back, I babysat your kids for 1 weekend. You forgot all of your clothes in the closet, went to Lake Geneva. Anyway, they remembered me. We were in the neighborhood. So February 1981, this guy apparently, you'd been over to their house for dinner, right? He sits up in bed. Karen Turner. I'm going to have PD meet Karen Turner. Calls my dad, and I'm gone. I've already moved to Des Plaines, and I'm going to go back as a full-time missionary. Not on my radar. So anyway, my dad gets involved. He invites him to come to lunch. My mom didn't even know. Right, Mom? My mom was here too. She was there the very first day we met in our kitchen. And she remembers meeting Dave too. He was going to talk to me about Europe. So that's how we first met. So it wasn't in my plan at all. But within 2 months, we knew that we were going to get married. It was that fast, and I was so confused because I'd made a commitment to go back to Europe. I'd raised support to go back. But I went back with a ring on my finger. And then Dave came over after 10 months, and we traveled, went back to all the places where I'd lived. One of them was Oberammergau, Germany, and I worked for a wood carver during the Passion Play. So I did Rome, I did Oberammergau, and then I was near Salzburg with the missionaries. And so it was quite a journey, but we've been through an awful lot. Thank you, Dave. Love and respect you for everything we've been through. And it was tough at first, but we made it, and you know, our faithfulness has gotten us to today. So it's been something. He'll have a rebuttal, I'm sure. I just wanted to read just a short passage from 2 Timothy. It's an encouragement and just something personally for Dave and me, but also for all of you too, because our personal foundation really matters. 2 Timothy 2. God's truth stands firm like a great rock, and nothing can shake it. It is a foundation stone with these words written on it. The Lord knows whose are really his. And a person who calls himself a Christian should not be doing things that are wrong. In a wealthy home, there are dishes made of gold and silver, as well as some made from wood and clay. The expensive dishes are used for guests, and the cheap ones are used in the kitchen or to put garbage in. If you stay away from sin, you will be like one of these dishes made of purest gold, the very best in the house, so that Christ himself can use you for his highest purposes. And I think in ministry, that's what we all want to do. I wanted to do it behind the scenes, and that was not God's plan for me. It was more to be his partner, his encourager, but he's an interesting guy, you know, and I have loved being his wife and supporting him in every way I possibly can. God has been so, so faithful. Thank you all for coming, and especially our friends near and far who came, and my brother, Dave's brother, who came from out of state. Amazing. Thank you all. We love you. Beth, could you come up for a second? I have a gift for the congregation. I did the banner that's framed up here for Bethlehem, and I only saw it once. So I actually went back this last week, and the pastor knew where it was, and the ladies from the congregation had helped me, even though I designed it. So that was really, really, really neat to see that, because that's what I always wanted to do for the Lord, was just use whatever talent I could for him. So that's one thing from the beginning. This is from the end. You can open it now. This is a painting done in the Renaissance style that I did about 15 years ago, and it's a photo of the original that's in our living room. Two members of our congregation posed for it up at Joliet Central High School 15 years ago. Bev Holt, our music director's son, Michael, he was in plays with Dave. And then Kara Ziegler. So these are the two, but it's in a Renaissance painting technique. And so I did a photo of my painting and then had it framed for you. So this is my gift to the congregation. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Karen. I was interested, I don't think I've ever heard that story before that you told about how we met and all that. I'm just really eager to see how it all turns out. Dear friends, I have just the one thing to say. I changed my mind. Now Kurt needs those smelling salts. Thank you to Beth for organizing all of this. Thank you for Carol Gordon and Mary Burr for making it possible to feed almost 500 people. Thank you to the many bakers who prepared Scandinavian treats. Thank you to Lloyd Evans for setting up the tables and running the sound. So many people worked behind the scenes. I'm honored to have my brother Jim here and his son Jeff. I'm so proud of the dad that Jim is and what good care he gives to our mom. A good friend of mine from junior high school is here, Bob Peterson. What a treat to see him. Former youth director Bill and Marianne Zeke are here. Myrtle, my friend, she was the first person I told when Karen said that she would marry me. I'm happy that my mother-in-law Irma is here, and Karen's brother. Welcome to all my friends from Morris. You know, I'm glad to see all the children of Bob and Lois Phillips. Thank you, Gary, for your sophisticated jokes. We are better people if we haven't heard them. You already heard that Jim Phillips and Les Larson came to hear me preach in Morris. It was like preaching in front of Mount Rushmore. I thought I'm dying up there. They recommended me. It's probably just a coincidence that they both left the church later on. I wonder, how many of you did I baptize? Raise your hand. Okay, how many did I confirm? Raise your hand. How many did I marry? How many did I bury? Well, you're looking good. People ask me what I'm going to do after I retire. Well, 3 times a week, I plan on driving to the church parking lot and honking my horn. I plan on becoming a burden to my children. Why not? I've taken care of them all these years. I'm thinking about joining a Black Pentecostal church. Those dear people know how to praise God. And finally, I might buy the Unitarian church across the street and turn it into a Speedway gas station. We just had a long battle to stop Speedway from building there. That's what it's all about. One thing I look forward to is that I won't have to be the last person in line at potluck dinners anymore. Here's God's sense of humor. For the first time in 40 years, I won't have to be at a Tuesday night church council meeting. Guess what? My wife and daughter just joined the church council. It has always been part of my job description to tell Norwegian jokes. And let me just say, I enjoyed Herb's jokes, but Herb, I don't lead the choir, you know what I mean? Did you hear about the horrible accident? A large Norwegian ocean liner carrying blue paint crashed into a Swedish ocean liner carrying red ink. All of the sailors were marooned. Take that, Gary Phillips. One of our members, Sven, bought a new truck and only noticed that the truck was covered with dents. Ole says, Sven, why in the world did you buy a truck with bins? Sven says, the salesman gave me $50 off the price. He said, he told me all I have to do is blow on the tailpipe and all those dents will pop right out. But I've been blowing on this tailpipe for 2 hours and I don't think it's working. And Ole says, don't be yet so dummy. You have to close the windows first. I'm playing in this room all this week, everybody. Norwegians are very careful, you know what I mean? Poor Ole was on his deathbed. He was laid out in the living room. All of his family was gathered around him. He said, my dear wife Nina, are you with me? Yes, Ole, she said, I'm with you. He said, my dear children, Oscar and Hilma, are you with me? Yes, we're with you, Papa. Ole asked, my brother Lars, are you with me? Yes, brother, I'm with you. And Ole replied, well, if everyone is with me, how come the light is on in the kitchen? When we got married, I told Karen that she never had to do one thing in the church unless she wanted to. All I asked is that she would attend church on Sunday. Not everybody knows that Karen used to be a Frisbee-tarian. A Frisbee-tarian. A Frisbee-tarian believes that when you die, your soul flies up and gets stuck on the roof. So what are you going to do, fire me now for telling the truth? Without calling attention to herself, as Herb said, Karen worked on 2 work camps for the poor in Appalachia in Mexico. She organized a nursery, did child care. She sang in the sanctuary choir and led a number of women's retreats. She volunteered in vacation Bible school and taught classes. For all those years, she brought her kids to church and Sunday school all by herself. I probably haven't sat with her 40 times in 40 years, and now she's not sure if she wants to. I thank God for her in every way. I don't know how she's going to handle me being around the house all the time. She's talking about putting a bell around my neck so she knows where I am. The truth is, I never wanted to be a pastor. I wanted to be an active Christian in my church, but I thought pastors thought too highly of themselves, and I didn't like how people treated them. This happened often. When I was a boy, Sunday morning after the church service, my dad would point at this little old Norwegian guy who followed the pastor into the sacristy. And Dad said, you see that guy? He's going to tell the pastor everything he did wrong in the service today. And I thought, is that how people treat pastors? Well, sometimes it is. But I know now that whatever critics I've had, most of them, they love Jesus, and they just wanted what was best for our church. And I appreciate that love. In my 40 years as a pastor, I've been physically threatened 3 times. I was investigated by the police for stealing from a woman. I was a Social Security payee. P.S. They found me innocent. I've had people walk out and not pay for weddings, but none of them meant anything compared to the wonderful Christians that I met along the way. And I wish that every congregation had volunteers, prayer warriors, and generous people like you do at Messiah. A local Lutheran pastor said to me, Dave, he said, you have a healthy, active congregation. It is growing and strong. You built a family life center and paid for it before the doors were opened. He said, your congregation is unique among, he said, we are unique among Lutheran churches. And you and I know it was all God's gift, but we were a part of it. That's one reason I'm retiring at this time, because our church is in such a great place. We have wonderful volunteers, a beautiful music program with Herb, Rose, and Sherry. Our office staff, Lloyd, Sherry, and Christine are creative and full of God's Spirit. Brian's a great youth director. I tell you, Pastor Hoover and Pastor Stewart love Jesus, and they love this congregation. And they have talents and insights that I never had at their age or even now. We are friends and we love each other, and I leave Dave and Kurt with just 4 words of advice. Don't mess it up. I'm almost done, I promise. I'm proud of several things I was able to do at Messiah with your help. Before we started our building project, we spent an entire year raising money to feed the hungry through projects like Project Heifer and other mission groups. We should do that again. We read through the Bible twice as a congregation as part of our morning school of the Bible. We heard sermons on every book of the Bible twice through over a period of years. I'm proud that we had an active Lutherans for Life group here at Messiah, and we did so in such a way that even people who felt otherwise could support our projects. For 5 years, I brought a resolution to our church convention for our synod to ask Lutheran General Hospital to reconsider its radical abortion policies. 5 years I stood up there, and it got passed finally. I'm proud of the many plays that we did at Messiah. My daughters were in them. Ron Sarver and I spent 6 months putting together an off-Broadway play as a dinner theater. It was called Let Him Wait Till It's Time for His Funeral. I wrote 2 short plays and had them published. I did all the coursework for a master's degree in marriage and family counseling. I didn't take it because they had to have 1,200 hours supervising counseling, but it really changed my sermons, I think. 7 years ago, I came back from sabbatical with the idea of having a family life center. The idea wasn't mine. Other people have been talking about it. But with those other people's help, we got the staff and church teams on board. We did surveys and had prayer vigils. We found amazing people to lead every step of the project. It was important to me that we not have any fundraisers, that it all be stewardship. And so our theme was equal sacrifice, different gifts. We took a step of faith so big that only God could make it happen. And He did. Somehow our church was barely able to make its monthly budget. We raised $2 million. And when the doors were open, everything was paid for. And it was all God. You had to say, it was all God. Thank you for your generous gift that you've given to Karen and to me. I can't tell you what it means to be your pastor and your friend. You have shared with me your faith, your family, your secrets. We laughed together, we prayed, we served God together. Let me say this, if you appreciated my ministry, thank me by being in church next Sunday. If you value my sermons and our time here, support the congregation with your time and gifts. If you love me, give your new pastors the same love, kindness, and patience that you gave to me. The best is yet to be. And now I'd like you to stand for the benediction. If you want to. Please know in the deepest place in your heart that God will never lead you to a place where His grace cannot keep you. Go in that joy. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you so much.
We do have just a couple of other things on the list. If you could just have a seat again, just for a quick moment. And Dave and Karen, if you could take your seats again. First of all, I want to echo Dave's sentiments. Thank you to everybody, Marietta and Carol, who organized all of this, and all the volunteers, the decorators, the people who made the desserts, the people who cooked the fish, the people who served us, the Friday night setup crew, the Saturday decorating crew, the remote parking shuttle drivers, the cleanup crew, the cleaning service, the youth groups that helped serve today. Thank you all very much for making this a wonderful, successful day. But we do have one other mystery guest who's going to be speaking here this morning, so watch the mic.
Okay.
Dave. Okay?
It's okay. Uh-huh.
Dave, I'm so happy to be able to have a minute with you now at your special day. I know that it's really important to you that
Okay.
David, I'm happy to be able to have a little message for you today. This is a special day for you, and I'm sure that it will be a blessing for you and for the congregation. We sure that the Lord has prepared this time for you, and we're all very proud of you too, for all that has been accomplished and all the things you have done and the love you've shown for the whole church. So bless you, my dear, and I love you, Mom.
Sorry about the technical difficulties. All right. Thank you very, very much for being here this afternoon. Thank you, Dave and Karen, for your 32 years here at Messiah and your lifetime in ministry. We so appreciate it. And we're so blessed that you've been part of ours as well. Thank you very much. Please don't forget to pick up your utensils and serving dishes. Anything left over is going to be sold on eBay and the money given to the choir.